My mum is jealous of my GF and ruining our relationship with me. I love my mum but I feel like she's so toxic. I have a GF who I've been with 2 years. My mum seems to be jealous of her and our relationship. When I take my girl out, my mum asks so many questions about how much money I spent and where I went. Like a police interrogation, she asks so much. She also insists I should take her out or get her food since I'm going out with my girl. But when I go out with my dad or my boys, she doesn't do this at all. She won't ask questions or tell me to take her somewhere. Sometimes she comes in the room without knocking and just sits on the bed cock-blocking us for ages for no reason. Last year, she broke my door trying to force it open and come into my room when my GF was there just because she wanted us to say hi to the baby. It was 7/8 am in the morning and we weren't fully awake yet. She always tells my GF how close we used to be when this is a lie. We've never been very close. Sometimes she invites my GF to come places with us just to get me to go, and my GF doesn't like this because she thought the invitation was genuine but it was only to make sure I go. Now my GF refuses to go and I don't want to go, so I don't, and then my mum gets upset. Before I met my GF I was going out with the wrong crowd to avoid staying at home with my mum. In short, I was trapping and mashing. My GF helped me stop and change my life for the better, showing me there's more, and now I'm legit. My mum always argues with me in front of my GF and wants me to help with everything. I give her £400 a month and can't get any privacy. Sometimes she makes rude comments to my GF even about me. She's trying to embarrass me. She even insists I should share my weed with her and gets jealous when I share it with my GF. I share it with my mum but I don't think it's normal that I'm paying for my mum's weed etc. My GF fair enough, but my mum? Now my GF feels uncomfortable coming mine and feels like my mum is coming in between us. Sometimes when we order food she takes my GF's food off her plate and my GF doesn't like this but feels like she can't say no. There has been times when my GF paid for her own food and my mum took some without asking first. But even when she asks, my GF just says yes to be polite, and then sometimes will end up still hungry because now she's shared her meal. I will offer mine but my mum never wants mine for some reason. She always wants my GF's food. My GF has said it's not okay that my mum constantly asks for her food and drink when she comes over. Mind you, I will ask my mum if she wants food and she will say no, I think because she doesn't want to pay, but then it's not right she takes my GF's. It is clear my GF doesn't really like my mum anymore and I can't blame her for the way my mum has treated her. My GF insists that I get my own place. I'm trying but it's hard. I'm aware my mum is jealous but I don't know what to do. I love my GF and I don't want her to leave me because of my toxic mum. My mum is single with a 2-year-old, my half-brother, and sometimes it feels like she's too cry-dependent on me and she seems like she wants to be her man. I always babysit for her and sometimes this clashes with my work. She gets angry and shouts at me if I can't or don't want to babysit. I feel like I should defend my GF more because sometimes I don't say anything when my mum is being weird. Now my GF is not happy and it's starting to come between our relationship. My GF tries her best to maintain respectful and kind to my mum and has never even stood up for herself to avoid issues. Fear she will leave me if I don't man up and put boundaries against my mum. I think I upset my GF because I kept inviting her to come over despite her telling me she's not comfortable anymore. My GF's house is a bit far, that's why I don't want to go, and she keeps persisting I go to hers now. She didn't come mine for about a month and my mum kept asking why and inviting her over. Then she finally came and my mum did the same weird things she does and now my GF doesn't want to come again. My aunts have all cut my mum off for her behavior too. My dad can't stand my mum and they split 15 years ago and she still tries to argue with him on text. He said she has mental health issues. Maybe I'm in denial and she is mad. My little brother's dad moved to another city, ignores all her attempts to contact him and hasn't even seen him ever since he was born. She told everyone she was pregnant late because she wanted to keep it or knew that people would tell her not to, and because the man had an affair with his own family, I think men can't stand my mum because of her odd behavior. She is very controlling and argumentative. I really see myself having kids with my GF. She's one of the best people I've ever met, and she won't want my mum around her kids if she doesn't change. In fact, our relationship has been a bit rocky lately because she keeps complaining about my mum and is clearly unhappy. Even when she complains, she still stays respectful and I FW her heavy. I've spoken to my mum many times about her behavior and she acts calm for a bit then just goes back to her ways, so the issue is just her character. I'm fed up of speaking to her now. My GF has complained so much that I think she will dump me because of my mum if things don't change. Is my mum doing this because she's a single mother? Does anyone else have a toxic mum, and how do you deal with it? How do I not get sucked back into the street life? Is my mum acting like I'm her man? Do I need more independence? In short, my mum is interfering with my life and I feel tempted to go back to the street life. Comment. I'm not honestly surprised your girlfriend hates your mom if she's directly competing with her for your attention all the time. LMAO. You're paying her £400 to be constantly heckled and for her to ruin your relationship? If you wanna be with this girl, I don't see any other way but to move out. You're not her significant other, you're not her babysitter, you're not her weed dealer, you're her 21-year-old son trying to make a life for himself, and if you don't start acting like it, you're gonna get your ass dumped and continue to be walked all over for the rest of your life. Good for you for getting your shit together, BTW. Your mom is your mom. But you also aren't supposed to date your mom, so yeah, her wanting you to spend money on her to go out or smoking with her is weird. The whole thing about watching your younger brother is annoying, but that's part of being the older/eldest child, unfortunately. I do think your mom is trying to supplement her lack of a man or support from her family with you. It sucks and it feels unfair, but also you're her only family. YK. She probably knows what she's doing isn't fair, which is why she seems to contradict herself when she makes it hell for your GF, but then asks why she doesn't come around or that she's always welcome. I bet she knows that in some ways she's sabotaging your relationship and feels bad about it. Part of your solution is to start going to your GF's house. It's equally as inconvenient for her to go see you as it is for you to see her. If you see a future with her, then why would you let a small obstacle like a 30 minutes, 45 minutes trip get in the way of that, especially if that means your mom isn't in your personal space, making things awkward with your GF. Another part of the solution, yeah, get some more independence. I don't know what you mean by street life since I'm not UK, but I can guarantee that'll just keep you stuck with your mom even longer. Part of why your mom feels comfortable pushing this on you is because you're reliant on her. If you have other obligations like a job that pays you better, rent you have to pay, etc., she won't be able to justifiably exert her influence over you. Why don't your GF get a place together? If you both work, you can afford it, and it takes the current stressors on your relationship out of the equation. Next story 2. I'm thinking of just blocking her. Should I wait a bit longer before making a decision? We've been talking for almost 2 months now. We met online and felt that spark pretty quickly on the first date. We've talked and hung out nearly non-stop since then. I even lost my V card to her. It's been a roller coaster for how short of a time we've known each other, and we're hilariously incompatible in so many ways. But we can't seem to get enough of each other, and I'll admit I've fallen quite hard. 2 days ago she says her ex reached out, and she seemed pretty upset by this. This isn't the first time she mentioned an ex trying to initiate contact with her, and both times I kind of just act unfazed/uninterested. It smells like her trying to feel my reaction out. That same night when we're on the phone, she's watching a movie and seemed pretty tired. I recommend talking to her tomorrow so she can get some rest. She is always very irritated when I try to get off the phone early, but sometimes it seems like we aren't talking about much and I'd rather do something else. LOL. Well, this time it seems like I snapped something in her. She does the you know what, fine voice, lets me get off the phone, and has been very distant since. But it's like distant, while expecting me to chase her on a leash to close the distance. The following morning, yesterday, I text good morning and receive dry responses, and I try calling her on my way to work like we always do. She lets me go to voicemail and texts me maybe we can talk later. I just leave her on red tbh, I'm kinda annoyed. She texts and calls me later in the evening, and asks me if I was mad since I left her on read, almost like she was hoping I was upset. I just said I was busy. I was actually pretty upset, but the text didn't even seem like it needed a response. She hangs up after I say this, and argues with me about it for an hour. I remain calm and cordial though, she's the one upset. Eventually the subject changes to something more lighthearted since I'm not even really engaging her argument with anger, and I decide to hit her up thinking she's feeling better. She'd had a nice dinner and is in the car with her mom sounding pretty drunk, driving from somewhere they both laughingly refuse to tell me, I suspect somewhere with the ex. I think she gets a call from someone, I assume the ex, and she says she'll call me back. She never did, of course. I'm thinking of blocking her and just being done, but I've never really cut someone off completely like that before. I just feel like crap, honestly. I'm not perfect and haven't dated in a while, but I'm really trying to show this woman a good time and just be a decent person, and it's never enough. Perhaps I'm just infatuated because I lost my virginity to her, but it sometimes feels like I'll never click with a woman like this again. I talked to other matches on the app, I have like 50 plus waiting, and none of them hit the same. I'm just depressed, man. Why does she have to do me like this? And where has my self-respect gone? Comment. So she's dealing with a situation where she'd like emotional support and you refuse to provide it because you assume she's playing games. You do something that always irritates her, and this time it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. She's not trying to get you to chase her. She's just done because to her, that's quality time on the phone, but to you, it's meaningless. She talks to her friend and her mom about me whenever she needs advice. I don't understand why she would turn to me of all people about boy problems. Why would I want to hear or talk about another dude who's hollering at her? I'm not even her boyfriend, lol. But I was more than willing to offer her support on her bad day at work. You make no sense here. It seems like common knowledge to not bring up your ex, who's still in your life, to the person you're currently dating. Maybe I'm wrong. You can't be serious. We literally are not saying anything and have already been talking for several hours. So let's call it a night and chat tomorrow, since I have other things I'd like to do. Like hobbies, or sleep lmao. This is ridiculous. I argue it demonstrates incredibly low value to be sitting OTP, humming and saying random crap, giving all your time to one woman who you're not even exclusive with yet. Absurd.